10.3, solving radical equations. We're going to spend today and Monday on that during class. Okay. First, a radical equation is not an equation that's totally cool or anything like that. Okay. If you look at page 319, okay, there's some information about notes here. You can come back to that after we finish the lesson. Okay, but the next page, page 320, you see a bunch of radical equations. They really need it. Okay? What I want you to do is use what you know about equations to solve number 1. Find x. Okay, hey, what's number 1? Talk about it later. It is 2? Everyone agree? Yes, the square root of 2 is 4, yes? No, it is not 2. How do I undo a square root? You square both sides. Those cancel. X equals 16. Checking our work, we put the 16 back in where x was and see if it equals 4. It does, so we're good. Good job. Okay, everyone give number 2 and number 3 a go, please. 2 and 3. Hey, let's try it. Number 2, what's the first step?
Plus 3 square plus 3 on both sides.
Add 3 to 8 and subtract 3 from 2 and Jesus.
Hey, when we're dealing with addition and subtraction, just like in any equations, move the addition and subtraction pieces first. So you're subtracting 3, so add 3 to both sides. So you get 11 equals the root of n. Yes? Correct, yeah, when they're not under the square root symbol. So like on number 5, you could not move that 2 first because it's under the square root symbol. Okay, good point there. So next piece.
Is that 3 times the square root of 8 or is that
Yeah, you square both sides. Okay. 121. Okay. And then if you were to test it, 121, square root of that is 11, minus 3 is 8. So it works out. Okay, tell your neighbor what you did first on number 3.
Plus 15 on both sides.
Yeah. Very good. I heard it. Add 15 on both sides. Gives you 0. 3 root a is equal to 9. Next step. Good. They're multiplying by 3, so you divide by 3. Root of a is 3. And then you square both sides. And once again, you can always check it. Root of 9 is 3 times 3 is 9 minus 15 is negative 6. Okay, so let's move down to the next column. I'm going to do number 4. Notice this is outside the radical. The stuff that is inside the radical has to stay in there until the radical is removed. So I can't move that 3 until I square both sides. That's the next step. And then you can move the 3 over. So in order to get the stuff that's inside the radical out, you have to get rid of the radical first. I think I added wrong. Yes. Unbelievable. That is 19. It's tough math. Okay? Why don't you try number 5 and 6, please?
God, there's so much math put into it.
Okay, first step. Divide by 6. They're multiplying by 6, so we divide. Root t minus 2 is equal to 2. Second step. Square both sides because they took the root. T minus 2 equals 4. Add 2 to both sides. T equals 6. Very good. Okay. What'd you guys get on number 6?
14.
14. All right, checking our work there. There are the steps on number 6.
Oh.
Okay, subtract the 2, divide by the 3, take square both sides, add 6, divide by 3. Okay? Leave a trail of your work. I know that many of you don't put the little steps in between like I've been doing on these, but at least rewrite the next line of the equation, because that'll help you out. All right. Let's move on to number 7. Notice they're getting progressively more weirder. Yeah. They're getting a little more difficult each time. So, number 7, tell your neighbor what you think you should do first.
Square both sides, so it's D.
Very good. Square both sides.
Plus 5D. No, minus 5D.
Okay, now you have 5D equals D, or D equals 5D minus 8. Collect all of our D's on one side. Negative 4D's equal negative 8. Divide by negative 4. D is 2. Now be careful. If I would have got a negative answer right here, I would have had no solution. So if this would have said negative 2, it would have been no solution. Tell your neighbor why you can't have a negative 2 there. If you plug in that negative 2 right here, that says the root of negative 2. That would be incorrect. You can't have the root of a negative. However, it's positive, so we're good. Okay? As long as if I plug in the 2, I'm good here. But if I plug in 2 here and I get a negative answer, so for instance, if D would have said D equals 1, 1 works here, but when I put 1 in right here, what's 5 times 1? 5 minus 8 is? Negative 3. 1 doesn't work either. This would have been no solution. Okay? That has to do with your what values you're allowed to use for D there, your range. Okay? All right. I want you to try number 11.
Oh.
Number 11.
Oh, I can't do this easy.
Getting more and more intense. Here we go.
Jonathan. I go here.
Oh, yeah, from
Jonathan.
Here we go.
I got stumped on that. I don't think I did.
How many made it that far?
I did.
I made
Okay.
it a little bit farther.
Hey, from there, this is a fraction. My next step would be to get rid of the fraction. That's just a personal preference. I'd multiply every term by 3. So that would give 2v because it'll cancel this fraction out. But you got to multiply this by 3, this by 3,
That's what I did.
that by 3,
I forgot to do the 10.
and that by 3. You don't have to do that, but it makes it easier.
What if you did it the other way? Something different.
It's
Minus 10 from over there over here.
You don't have to do it that way. Yeah.
Could you move the 10s over?
Yes, you don't. Once again, for the 3rd time, you do not have to do it that way.
No, I mean, can you move the 10s over with negative?
Yes. 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 Hey, if you did it a different way, let's just see if you get the same answer. Move the 30 over. Don't just erase your work. Subtract 30 on both sides. Move the 12v over. V divided by negative 10 is 6. When I plug 6 in, it better not give me a negative number in one of these. Otherwise, we've got issues. Okay? So 4 times 6 is 24. That's bigger than 10, so we're good there. 2 times 6 is 12 divided by 3. Well, we're adding. It doesn't matter. Okay? Just make sure that these roots match, and they do. So we're good. Okay. Questions on that page?
This is
Next page. Number 13.
13.
Okay, what do we do first? Volunteer.
Q do the
Someone that hasn't volunteered yet. Go ahead, Cal.
Isn't it like you to the power of 3? You do
They're taking the cube root, so we're going to cube both sides.
125.
Bro, what time is class over? Like 11:20.
17.
For you right now. Go for it. See ya. Oh. Do some more.
I'm doing work.
Oh, number 15.
Number 15.
Okay, number 17. Tell your neighbor what you're going to do first on 17.
Square both sides.
You're gonna square everything.
Okay, time's up. Brady, what am I going to do? Square both sides. Good job. Now you'll notice what's the difference between this one and the previous page? Yeah?
Is that it's B squared?
Yeah, you now...
Have a square root.
Doesn't have a square root over here. Now you have a b squared. You have introduced, whenever you add another power, you started out with a linear on this side. And a square root, you now have a quadratic, which means when you think of quadratics, how many solutions could you potentially get? 2. So you went from having one solution to having 2, which means you introduced a solution. Which means you could end up with an extra solution at the end. We call that an extraneous solution. So in problems like this, you need to test for extra, and we call them extraneous, okay? Okay, but really, if you just want to think of it as extra, I know the word extraneous is like crazy, like...
That's a nice word.
Are you looking it up, Jason? Why don't you close your Chromebook? Okay? It's okay to pass math. Come on. You can do it, but you've got to have your paper out and do work with us. Okay? Get it? Okay. Why does he have your book?
Because I forgot to bring my book.
You two.
Well, he never works anyway.
Get Jason. Get your book. Jonathan, copy him down. Hey, but seriously, man.
Well, no, I always work when I have my book, but I don't have my book.
Well,
so I just work in his book.
Copy him down there.
Wait, do you have like an extra book?
No.
Damn.
Copy them down. Just look at that.
Okay. Hey, how do I solve a quadratic?
I was gonna say something, and it just totally slipped my mind now.
Oh, we spent the last 3 months solving quadratics.
Quadratic formula.
Yeah. Okay, so you could always graph it, but before you can do any of that, in almost every way you solve a quadratic, what is the first thing you need to do to the equation? Julie? Good, you have to make it equal to 0. So you've got to move this over and move this over. Add 2b and add 1. All equals 0 now.
That's fancy.
You could move the b squared, except for we always try to keep b squared as positive. So if you move b squared over, then it becomes negative.
It's just harder that way.
It makes it harder to factor.
Ow. My hand.
So like this one is very easy to factor.
Oh, no, we use the quadratic formula.
What does this factor to? All right. Solution right here. Sebastian, what do you get for an answer right here? No, that's not the answer. That position, you don't know what you're doing here? Hey, you better take some good notes right now. What's the answer here? Yeah, b is -1. It's what will make that 0. If you're like, oh yeah, right now, you have to take notes on that. Because that is not going to be reviewed again with you. That's something you just expected to know now. We've spent 3 months on it. Does -1 work? It's a negative number. Will it work up here? Yeah, you can't have, it works in here. When I put a negative in, that gives me a +2, and -1 plus 2 is? It's 1. So it's okay to have the root of 1 here. However, when I put -1 in here, can a root equal a negative? No. So you did all that work to find out the answer is no solution. That -1 is called extraneous. It is an extra solution. Okay, that is the big key for today. Like all those other problems, they're pretty easy. You get down to these, number 19, when you square both sides, a couple things happen. The first mistake that will probably be made that I'm looking at and I'm going like, dude, you're going to probably make a mistake here is right here. Forgetting that you have to FOIL that. It is not r squared minus 1. It is r squared minus 2r minus, or plus 1. Right? That whole distributive property thing. Now, some of you may have forgotten that. Doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you forgot it. You need to make a note to yourself again. You then have to set it all equal to 0. So applying all these things that we've learned throughout the year, or at least the last few months, to get to that point there. And then from there, factoring it. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute because that I do. R minus 1, R plus 4. Yes, I am living the dream, Jason. Dealing with you every day. I'm going to say hi to you. I know, I am living the dream, man. No, I'm not roasting you.
Do you even know what that means?
Yeah, I do. Is that right? Yeah. You could switch these around for sure. Is this correct though? That's factored in correctly. What's wrong with it? Huh? No, 3. I add the, or subtract that over. It's negative 3. Hey, what's wrong with that factoring?
It's supposed to be minus 4.
Good. It's supposed to be minus 4 and plus 1. Make sure you factor right. So when I test it, this is r equals 4. This is r equals negative 1. Do they both work? Yeah, the negative won't work. Okay? That negative 1 is extraneous. That's our extra. Hey, you need to finish the student journal note-taking as your assignment. Okay? Or, excuse me, the extra practice through 22.
3